Good morning, Knicks Nation. Today is Monday. It is the 30th day of January 2023. I hope you had a good weekend. I hope that you're also safe and healthy this weekend, that your needs of your family in terms of food, shelter, clothing, as well as health were also being met. Blessings upon those that work in the healthcare field, along with the first responders who every day are out here trying to save lives. Blessings also upon those that pick up garbage for us to keep streets and sidewalks and yards and parks and streets clean and disease free. And those also that make deliveries for our convenience of food and water and things like mail for our convenience, oftentimes at their own peril. Blessings and double blessings on the men and women that are out here trying to help and rescue and deliver the teenagers and the children that are the victims of child molestation and pedophilia. The victims also of pornography and child pornography. The victims of prostitution and child prostitution. Also the victims of human trafficking and sex slavery. Double curses upon the perpetrators. Double curses on the profiteers. And double curses on the perverts that make this heinous and ugly industry possible. Finally, blessings upon the homeless. There are nearly 600,000 men, women, and mostly children, and increasingly elderly, on the streets of the United States of America and millions around the world in similar or worse conditions. Blessings upon them, for theirs is the kingdom. So now, we want to talk today about the trade deadline and trades in general. I try to separate what is mostly garbage and false smoke from what is real in terms of trades and trade rumors. One of the things I do when I go to separate them is I look at the Knicks and look at how they do things. Because whoever and whatever they do is going to fit with their culture. For example, let's talk about for a second the San Antonio Spurs. The San Antonio Spurs, if I was to say to you, they have a reputation, they have a culture. You would say, oh yes, they have a reputation and a culture. I would say, listen, would you get a person, for example, Miles Bridges, recently accused of beating up his girlfriend? Would the San Antonio Spurs sign him? No, the San Antonio Spurs would not sign him. Matter of fact, they had a first-round pick out of Alabama, 18 years old, who they just let go because he was accused of exposing himself to one of their staff members. See? So that's not the type of organization that would bring in a play like that, because they have a culture, they have a system. And so what the Knicks are trying to do is build their own culture, their own system in their organization. And that's why the long-term continuity of the front office and the head coach is very important. And then there's a way of doing things. For example, let's go back to the Spurs. When you see the Spurs play, whether they're really good or not so good, they always have ball movement. They always have off-ball player movement. And they really stress defense. Now, they don't always have the talent to accomplish these things, or to, especially on the defensive side, but they always are looking for that. And they tend to look for fundamentally sound players, and they tend to look longer term when they're dealing with players in terms of development. That's why sometimes you would think a player may not even make another team, or may not even be a player on another team, becomes a star, an all-star, or a very important player from Spurs, because they take longer to develop their players, and they have a longer term view in terms of development. So the New York Knicks are trying to develop a culture. They have a system. And so when you're looking at the Knicks, very fundamentally, you must understand Tom Thibodeau is running a 9-man rotation. What does that mean? That means, and let me just break this for very simple for my brothers and sisters in Knicks Nation. That means you have 9 players that are going to play at least 10 minutes. That's the rotation. So you have 9 players that are going to play at least 10 minutes. You might have another guy, a 10th guy or an 11th guy that plays less than that, but that's not part of the rotation. Okay, that's not part of rotation. That's just guys that's filling in minutes. So you have, and you can have a guy like that. For example, even in Tibbs' system, you will have 9 players that's going to play 10 minutes or more. And then you're going to have another guy sometimes that's going to play that 8-minute role. Yeah, that's a 10th guy that's going to play 6 to 8 minutes for Tibbs. So with that in mind, let us also understand that it takes Thibodeau and his staff 30 games to figure out the 9-man rotation. Okay, sometimes 40, but they look and see what combinations work, what doesn't work, and who they started out of camp as their 9-man rotation, and should they make any changes. It takes time, and a lot of fans in New York get all frustrated because he doesn't immediately make changes the way everybody thinks that he should. But you're not looking at the culture and how he does things. He doesn't make changes suddenly. Okay. He makes changes over the course of a 30-game period. If he sees a glaring situation, like with Kemba Walker last year, he'll remove him from the rotation once he comes and looks at the film and looks at practice and sees what's going on, and he sees a weakness that he thinks can be upgraded immediately, he'll make that change. Okay. This year, it was taking Evan Fournier, who was the starting two guard at the beginning of the year, out of the rotation. Okay. So he'll do that. But then by the time he gets to 30 or 40 games, he has his 9-man rotation set. He has what he wants, and he's going to go to war with that through the end of the year. Last year, Cam Reddish was brought in at the trade deadline. And one of the reasons he didn't play right away is because Tom had his 9-man rotation. He's not going to break it up because there's a trade made. And this is, again, what a lot of media and fans refuse to look at or understand, and they act like it's a big mystery. You know, last year, Berman kept right, why is Cam playing? Because he wasn't part of the 9-man rotation, and Tibbs is not going to break up what he took 30 or 40 games to develop because you just made a trade. Unless somebody is traded out of the 9-man rotation. Then you'll see a change. Okay? So once somebody's traded out of the 9-man rotation, now he has no choice. Somebody has to come in. And if you trade a player in there, he might put that player in there at that point. Last year, the only reason Cam played was because people got hurt and they had COVID. And that's when he had gotten extra minutes to play. And he started winning more time. Because if you do perform well in the time you get, he'll bring you more time. But then Cam got hurt, and that was the end of that. But my point here in bringing all this up is, he's not going to change his 9-man rotation because the Knicks make a trade. And that's what some of you won't understand. Because you're talking about, let's go get this guy, let's go get that guy. Unless one of the 9 guys is traded, he's not changing his rotation. Okay? That in mind, when we hear rumors of trades, one thing, that's number one, he's going to keep his 9-man rotation. And then we know, for example, Cam Reddish is going to be traded because Cam Reddish is a young player on a rookie deal that's going to be expiring, about $6 million, going to be expiring this at the end of this season. He's due for an extension, but he's not going to get it because he hardly played over the 4 years enough to get anybody give a value for his extension. So he's probably going to get a short-term deal. So teams will be willing to take a risk on him because of his talent. So he's going to be traded. And then you have D Rose, whose $14.7 million is expiring at the end of this season. There's not a necessity to trade him because he's not in the rotation and his money is expiring. It's coming off the books in the summer. So there's no need to trade him unless somebody comes with an offer, or as it was written in one of the publications, that they want to do right by D Rose and he wants to go to a playoff contender to see if he can win a ring. Okay, they'll make a trade for that, but they'll be bringing back expiring money. They're not going to give up $15 million of expiring money because that's the value of Derrick Rose right now. He's $15 million of expiring money. So you don't want to bring back long-term money or anything that's not expiring this summer. Okay, for D Rose. So there's a likelihood that he stays in New York. He could be traded, but like I said, only if they're gonna bring back expiring money for him. Then there's Evan Fournier. Now this is the biggest dilemma for the Knicks, is Evan Fournier, in my opinion, and I'll tell you why. Because unlike Cam and unlike D Rose, Evan Fournier has another year on his contract at $19 million. Okay, the Knicks would love to move that $19 million. And the reason, again, if you add it up, 19, and let's just round up D Rose to 15 and Cam to 6. So 15 and 6 is 21. And you add 19 to 21, you have about $40 million that you clear from your cap. And you could replace all 3 of them players with minimum minimum contract guys if you wanted to, and save that money for when the next superstar is available. Not only that, you're going to have to pay quickly this summer. You're going to pay quickly, right? So that's coming from somewhere, and you don't want to go into. This is the thing at this point. Now, when you're first starting to build in year one of a rebuild, you don't want any long-term money. Okay, because you're trying to build. You want rookie contracts, you want young players, and you're trying to develop them. By the time you get to year 3, which is where the Knicks are right now, you don't want to be in. You're not worried about over the cap, but you're worried about over the tax line right now. Because now the young players you got 2 years ago and 3 years ago are now getting paid, and you're now developing. You're getting your foundation. You're getting your foundational pieces. They're getting paid, and you're now in the hunt for a superstar. So you're not worried about the cap. You're worried about the tax line, which is higher. So the Knicks are at this point don't want to deal with the tax line. That's really where we're at right now. So Fournier, if you can move him and get that $40 million, now you're in the hunt for a superstar. You could pay quickly. See, because Quickly's new salary won't take effect till the year after next. The same with Obi Toppin. You could sign. You actually don't have to sign them until next October because their money is not even going to count this year. So you're going to have $40 million to play with this coming year. Okay, and you could go over the cap to sign Quickly and Obi, right? So you don't have to worry about being under the cap to sign them because you have their rights. So because of that, you can wait till October to extend them. But you start making these negotiations, getting these numbers solid in the summer. So that Quickly and Obi know you want them, you got money for them, you're gonna do them right. Okay, that's for next October. But you're gonna start negotiating with them some. But the $40 million that you can clear before you do that, that won't care. You can use that to try to get a real, game-changing piece for the Knicks. But that's this summer. That's what I'm saying. Nothing is going to happen right now that's going to do that. You're looking right now to try to move Fournier if you can. I don't think you're going to have a problem moving Reddish. And I don't think they're going to move Rose for the reasons I stated earlier. But Fournier is going to be a challenge because he's got that extra year of $19 million. Now, $19 million for 1 year is generally not a game changer for a team that's looking for the ring. See, at that point, all you're trying to deal with right now is the tax implications, but you want the ring. So last year, Golden State paid a gazillion. They paid a lot of money in taxes last year. Golden State did, and it's very expensive. It could be worth like up to the whole equal to your whole team's salary, another equal to that in taxes. And Golden State pays something like that, but because they win the ring, they don't care because they're going to make that money back just by winning the ring. So if a team's in contention for a ring, they don't mind Fournier, right? But they got to make the money work. Okay, so you want to look at teams like that. So now, like some teams are in a real dilemma because they're not in a situation where, like for example, the Lakers. The Lakers are in a dilemma. LeBron is 38, and I mentioned this before the season. He's 38 years old. They don't have the time to wait for 2 or 3 years for somebody to develop and try to take advantage of LeBron as he is right now. Because right now, even though he's 38, dude is balling. He just had 41 against the Celtics. They lost, but he's still performing at a very high level, right? So you want to take advantage of that while you got him because you only got but so much time left at that level, and you want to win a championship. That's why they went and got Anthony Davis. But Anthony Davis, as we say, ambulance Davis, and so you can't. The reason they did win that chip, the one that they did win, was because it was in the bubble, shortened season, give Anthony Davis time not to get hurt, and then they won, right? But in the 82 game season, forget it. Okay, so right now they're in the dilemma. They got to decide what they're going to do. Now, if it was me, I'm not the GM. I'm not Rob Pelinka. But if I was, I would get rid of all of them. I would trade them all and start over. See, that's where they were headed. And this is why you don't necessarily want to short circuit your development game. They had Lonzo Ball. They had Julius Randle. They had Brandon Ingram, right? They had all these guys, Hart. They had Kuzma. They were developing a team. They traded it all away to get LeBron and AD. Okay, and they were rolling the dice. That's rolling the dice right there. Because now you're saying, okay, I'm going to get LeBron. I'm gonna get AD, and we're gonna put together some minimum contracts and be in the hunt for a chip, and that's cool. But it didn't work. They did get one chip out of it, but they didn't get no more. So now I get rid of all of them. I trade LeBron, I trade AD, I trade all of them, and try to start over and build. I don't know if they're gonna do that, but that's the dilemma they're in. If they really want to win a championship, then that means anybody is they could try to get any piece right now to win the championship. Okay. And so I don't know what they're gonna do. I don't understand the Rui Hachimura move, because unless they feel like he's gonna help them win the chip, trading none for Hachimura is a lateral move, in my opinion. So Hachimura is more of a long-term future thing. So I don't know what they're thinking or what they're doing. I think the Lakers, from my perspective, the Lakers are a mess right now. So I don't know what they're gonna do. But if you're looking at the Denver Nuggets, the Memphis Grizzlies, the Sacramento Kings, the Clippers, top four, the top six, you still got Warriors, and there's a dogfight going on in the West right now with the Pelicans, Mavericks, and Suns, right? They're all battling for the sixth or fifth seed, in Minnesota too. So those teams might want to make a major move to upgrade a piece like a Evan Fournier, because if they feel like they need that shooting to get them over the top. But they gotta have the money, see? So that's probably what they're looking at. And then in the East, it's the same situation. Boston, Philly, Milwaukee, Brooklyn, Cleveland, Miami, and then of course there's us. So everybody is trying to vie for them first six spots. Then you got people going for the play-in. And again, a team like Toronto, who we're gonna talk about, because OG Anunoby's name's been brought up a lot. We're gonna talk about that. But they gotta make a decision. Are they going to take this year as a wash and say, listen, let's build for next year? Or are they going to just blow it all up and then trade everybody away? To me, blowing it all up makes no sense. And I'll tell you why. Because they're young. Toronto is a young team. Okay? For example, OG Anunoby is not a guy you trade away to rebuild, because he's 25. He's a guy you rebuild with. Okay? He's not a guy you say, oh, we got to trade him and start over. If you're going to blow it up, you're going to blow it up because you're starting young. Well, OG is young. And they're a young squad. Scotty Barnes is 21. Precious Achiuwa is 23. They got a young team. Gary Trent Jr. is 24. OG is 25. I mean, they're very young. The oldest dude is Siakam. He's 28. And Van Fleet is 28. See, to me, all they need is a good center. They need a good five, and they would be good. So to me, I wouldn't blow it up if I'm Toronto. I try to get the 5 spot. I search, try to see what Orlando's doing with all the fives. They got a gazillion fives. See what they're doing with Jonathan Isaac. See what they're doing with Bamba, something like that. Look and see what Washington Wizards doing, and see if you can get a 5, because that's what they're missing right now, a 5, right? They might be in the hunt for Kristaps Porzingis, because that's all they're missing. They get something like that with all of this youth, they're good. See, so everybody has to make a decision. So with the Knicks, we're in the middle of that situation. We're not really in contention for a chip this year, but we're definitely not blowing it up. So they don't need to make any major moves. When you're in that mode, the Knicks are right now, as I mentioned, in year 3 of rebuild, you want to keep what you have and see if there's a superstar that you can add to it. A marginal piece you don't want, because you don't need lateral moves. You need to save your money for the superstar. And if you're not getting that superstar, keep what you got and keep developing. Okay, keep moving forward. And so OG Anunoby, for example. OG Anunoby is 25, I mentioned. He's not going to be 26 until the summer. He's a young player. Problem with OG is he started in the league when he was 19. He was young, coming out of University of Indiana after his freshman year. OG comes from Britain. He's from the UK, probably via an African nation through the UK, but nevertheless, he's a citizen of Britain. And OG is about 6. OG is what? Let me just take a look at him. Let's get his stats up here. But OG is, let's see here. I like his name, obviously, OG Anunoby. That is a cool name, man. OG, that is a cool name. But anyway, OG is 25 years old. I'm trying to get his stats here. Oh, I'm looking at the wrong. Hold on a second. Let me get this guy's stuff up. Okay. All right, here we go. OG Anunoby, 25, 6'7", 230 pounds. Nice, good size on him. good defender, has a good 3-point shot, career 37% 3-point shooter. Problem with OG. All right, let's look at this. First year in the league, he played 74 games. Second year in the league, he played 67 games. Third year in the league, he played 69 games. Fourth year, 43. Fifth year, 48. And this year, he's played 45 so far. So there is a slight, and I mean slight, injury history. Maybe not be a game changer. Maybe because he's young. Just like, also, problem with OG. He's on Toronto. Why is that a problem? They are managed by Masai Ujiri, who is almost the second coming of Jack the Ripper, like we got in Utah. And if you think he's giving away OG Anunoby, you're crazy. So if he's trading OG, you must ask yourself a question. Why would someone trade away a gifted 25-year-old wing? Wings win you championships. Why would you trade a 25-year-old wing? What's going on there? Especially if you're Masai Ujiri. I would be very wary dealing with OG Anunoby and Masai Ujiri. Just like last year, I told you at the beginning of the summer, you're dealing with Danny Ainge. Watch what you're doing. And I knew the Don ain't no sucker. The Don ain't no sucker. And the Don didn't go for the okie doke. And I'm glad he did. Masai Ujiri's in the same boat. The only difference is he's ripped us off before. He's got over on us twice. Okay? You know what they say? Fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice, shame on me. And don't let it happen the third time. Be very careful. There's a reason that OG Anunoby's name is coming up. First of all, too, OG is not an all-star. And the East is easier to make the all-star game than the West. He's not an all-star. To 2019, when they won the chip, he was hurt. He wasn't even part of that run at the end. He was hurt. Okay? So, and he's being paid something like $17 million a year. Yeah, so I'm not with this. I'm not with this at all. So right now, let's get OG up here. I think he's got 17 million this year, 18.6 next year, and 20 million a year after that. Okay, and that's to me, this is an issue. All right, so I'm gonna put OG Anunoby on my team. A guy making this kind of money, you want him to start, right? You want him to start. The only way you're going to pay somebody this kind of money to come off the bench is if he's your homegrown guy, like Emmanuel Quickly. I'd pay Emmanuel Quickly that kind of money to stay in New York. But we know Emmanuel Quickly, right? Okay. So you can't start him. What? You think you're going to sit RJ Barrett to start OG? Let's be in the real. I mean, there's fantasy, but let's get real. Not happening. Okay? What? You think they're going to sit Quentin Grimes? No. They're not going to sit Quentin Grimes. He's in his second year. He's developing. They're not going to put him backwards by putting him on the bench. So now, what are you going to do with OG? Okay, you can put him in Mob Deep. You got Obi, OG, Quick, Deuce, hey, Sims. Okay. Now, if you're going to do that, what you're going to have to do, you're going to trade. You're going to have Toronto. You're asking Masai Ujiri to take Fournier off your hands. You really think you're going to do that? You're going to have to give up some draft capital. Now, we got draft capital, but do you want to give up a whole bunch of our first-round picks for OG, or would you want to save it for a superstar? Okay? So that's what I'm saying. I don't think this OG thing got legs. I don't think so. Unless the Knicks are really going to trade a rotation piece. And that's what it comes down to. Are they trading a rotation piece for OG Anunoby? I hope not. And would Masai Ujiri take that rotation piece? You know Masai Ujiri, let me tell you something. He would take Obi Toppin, which tells me we shouldn't trade it. He would take Obi Toppin for OG and he would, and he should. If I was him, I'd do it too. And that's why, don't do it. Obi's not going to cost you $18 million a year. You could get him for like 14, 15. Okay? So why would you trade a guy you can give $56 million to bring in another guy you're gonna pay $90 million to? That's like some of them fools talking about trade Mitch Rob, go get Ayton, so you're gonna pay $200 million instead of $60 million. And the $60 million do each your $200 million do up every other game. That don't make no sense. But that's what some people proposing. NBA 2K. So I'm not really feeling this OG thing. I'm just not. Because this is a guy that would need to be in the rotation. They would pay him a lot of money. So you got to trade somebody out of the rotation. I am not trading quickly. I am not trading Obi. Now, I love Deuce McBride. Him and Mitch Rob, my dudes. But I would trade Deuce if they would take Deuce. But they don't want Deuce McBride at $2 million. And that can't work. See? So they'd have to take Evan Fournier. But I ain't doing that. Anyway, so that's what I'm saying. I'm discounting. I'm just telling y'all. OG, nah. Not saying he's a bad player, but it just doesn't fit with what we're trying to do. If you're telling me we could get Joel Embiid, oh, that's a different conversation now. If you're telling me Jason Tatum wants to come to the Knicks, different conversation. You talk about Luka Doncic, Kevin Durant, oh, Giannis, oh yeah, we could talk about anybody on the roster. Those are superstars. But you're talking about OG Anunoby, a solid player, solid piece. But we're not going to disrupt our rotation for him. And he ain't bringing us to the championship. Whereas everybody else I just named has our conversation in the Eastern Conference Finals next year. If any of them cats are coming to New York, next year we're talking Eastern Conference Finals. Okay? That's a whole different conversation. Okay? So, no, on the OG. Next, Grayson Allen, Milwaukee Bucks. Okay. So, Milwaukee Bucks and Grayson Allen. Why? And this is another question I have. And this is a question, this is just me being very cynical and skeptical, I admit. But why would the Milwaukee Bucks trade a starter? Why would they do that? What are they seeing that they say we need to trade one of our starters? I just have a problem with that. I have a problem with that. Grayson Allen is their starter at the 2 guard spot. And in terms of plus minus, the starting 5 is plus 12 with him in it. And almost every plus minus plus that's plus for Milwaukee has Grayson Allen in it. So I'm wondering, why would they trade him? He don't make that much. I mean, in terms of NBA terms, he's at $8.5 million for 2 years. That's $17 million. Why would they trade him? I'm still having a problem processing that. Why would they trade Grayson Allen? Is it a cap thing? Because I'm like, okay, let's assume if it is a cap thing, what's $8.5 million of a starter? I can't see it. I don't know why that room is out there, and I'm having trouble. If the Knicks were to pull that off, it would be a steal. It would be. So I'm wondering, why would they do that? Why would I mean, and that's what I'm saying. Some of these trade rumors, just I look at it first thing from a common sense standpoint. So Grayson Allen's a starter. You're telling me Milwaukee's going to give up a starter, and they're trying to win a championship, and they got this starter at $8.5 million. Why would they? I don't understand. Unless there was like I could see it if they have Ben Mathurin on the bench, right? So Ben Mathurin's on the bench, and the only thing stopping him is Grayson Allen. Okay, maybe. But you're telling me that you're going to trade a starter for Cam Reddish. And I'm not saying Cam is a bad guy, but he's on the bench. So the owner is going to trade a starter for the bench guy. I just don't get it. I don't. Right now, see, Milwaukee's at $191 million in cap space. $191 million. So they're going to be paying taxes. All right? They're going to be paying taxes. They're negative $66 million in cap right now. They're $66 million over. And they're going to be paying taxes. But they're going to win it. They're in the hunt to win a chip. I'm sorry. I don't see how this is going to happen. That's what I'm saying. If it happens, you got to give the Don all kind of props. In other words, what I'm saying to y'all is if you get Grayson Allen for Cam Reddish, you just stole Grayson Allen. Okay? I'm not going to give up no number one picks for the kid. I may give up some number twos. Okay? But I'm just like, okay, why would they do that? Somebody answer me that question. Why would Milwaukee do that? Why would they, a proven starter, why are they going to do that? That's what I need to know, because I don't see that happening. I'm just having trouble. I'm having trouble believing that this is real. That's what I'm saying. See, people throw names all the time. People throw names out in trade rumors. That's why, like, NBA Central is garbage, straight garbage. When something come out of there, it's not even worth. If it was on paper, you couldn't even write your butt with it. That's what I'm saying. Most of this stuff is garbage. Okay? So I'm wondering where this is coming from and why. Because, like I said, why? Answer me this question. Why would Milwaukee trade a starting two guard on a championship team for an end of the bench rotation piece? That might be a rotation piece. Why would they do that? Could somebody answer me that? A guy that's like us trading quickly for somebody that doesn't play on another team. Would you do that? Would you trade quickly for somebody that doesn't play? That's somebody at the end of the bench on another team? Would you trade quickly for that? You see what I'm saying? And Quickly's not even a starter. But I wouldn't do that. I wouldn't trade. Put it this way. I wouldn't trade Quickly for Grayson Allen. I wouldn't do that. So what? That's what I'm saying. I'm not buying the Grayson Allen thing. I'm just not buying it. And because look, if we did get Grayson Allen, let's just say the best case scenario for Grayson Allen, he'd be in the rotation and Deuce McBride would become that 8-minute dude. Okay, Deuce McBride in this pack, if it was going to happen, Deuce would become that 8-minute guy, and Grayson Allen would be in the rotation. He wouldn't be a starter. He's a starter on the Bucks. I'm sorry, I don't see it. I don't see it. See? So at the end of the day, in my view, we need to move. It's going to be easy to move Cam. D Rose is not even a question we need to discuss, because, like I said, they can keep him or not. He's going to have $15 million coming off the books in the summer. And then the big question is, can we move Fournier? That's the big question. And if we move Fournier, we don't want 2 years. We want a guy with an expiring deal. That's where your Jay Crowders, your Dario Saric's, these type of dudes that are on expiring deals that could sit if we need him sit. See, Jay Crowder will play the 8-minute 10th man. So with Dario Saric. That's what I'm talking about. They're not going to make a difference, but they opened up $19 million in cap space. They're expiring. And they're end of the bench vets that you could use if you need. Like if somebody gets hurt, you could step them up in there, and you know what you're going to get. Okay? So I'm looking, and I'm not saying they're going to make a trade for Jay Crowder or Dario Saric, but that's the type of guy. That's what I'm saying. I'm trying to say that's the type of situation we're looking for. An expiring money that we can put into the 8-minute 10th spot that could, help us if we need somebody because somebody get hurt, and we can still have that expiring money this summer, and we can go superstar shopping this summer. Okay, may not get anybody, but you got the money. Okay, and then the next year, you got to rearrange things again and try to do it. But this summer is a big summer for the Knicks. If they can engineer what I just said, Fournier is the key. If they can get Fournier moved and get $40 million, you can go superstar hunting. Okay, and believe this, superstars know that. They know who got the money for them and what team. So when the superstar is trying to make a change, and he's not going to let everybody know now who that guy is. Superstar's not going to say nothing yet. But his people, his reps, they're looking at every team and they're saying, okay, is my guy the missing piece to get this team over the top? And if he is, can they pay him? That's the questions. See? So once Fournier is moved, you could see something at that point. Okay? But the key here is Fournier. And it's not who we're getting back. It's what we're getting back in terms of expiring money. I just want y'all to know that. So all of these rumors, forget OG Anunoby. It's not going to happen unless they're trading a rotation piece. And I'm wondering, again, why Masai Ujiri would be giving away a 25-year-old kid. We're not definitely giving them 3 first-round picks. I don't care what the rumors are. The Knicks are not trading 3 first-round picks for OJ Anunoby. It's not happening. Okay, that's stupid. And they ain't stupid. Okay? And then you got Grayson Allen, a starter on the team. Both of these teams have won chips. But the Bucks are in more of a position right now to win another one right now. Okay? Why would they trade a starter when they're trying to get a chip right now? A starter that only costs $8.5 million. Come on, y'all. I don't get it. Okay, but anyway, that's what I'm saying to y'all. Y'all gotta think these things through before you start blurting out. Oh, we gotta go get OG. Oh, we gotta go get Grayson. No. Wait. Get rid of Fournier. Get this $40 million. And see what you could do this summer. See who's out there. See who wants to come be that piece that can get us to the next level. And look, if you could do it as a free agent, that's why I keep mentioning Kristaps Porzingis. If he opts out, he's a free agent. It won't cost us nothing but the $40 million. Like, we don't have to give up no pieces for him. See? So, and I'm not saying he's coming here, but that's this perfect scenario where you get a guy that can take you to that next level, and all you got to do is sign him. He's just got to pick your team, and you got to sign him. It ain't like, it's like when LeBron was going during his tour before he took his talents to Miami. There was going to be no trade with Cleveland. He was leaving Cleveland as a free agent. If you could get that, that's what you want. Okay. Now, if we have to make a trade, well, we all know we got the assets to make a trade. Okay. So right now, you're not going to see no fireworks at the trade deadline. What I'm hoping the fireworks would be, did they move Evan Fournier? That's the fireworks. Did they move him? Now, next year, they'd be able to move him easily because he's expiring. Any team that's a playoff team will take him next year because he's expiring. Knicks will use him next year because he's expiring. But if you want to try to get that superstar this summer, you need to move him Fournier now. Okay? So, anyway, that's the game. I just wanted to explain it to y'all because some of y'all getting caught up in some of these rumors that's being put out there for clicks and they don't mean nothing if you really think about it. Anyway, please enjoy your Monday. Happy Monday. Shalom.